In recent months, I have been buying quite a bit of sock yarn. So I hope you're not bored of seeing me knit socks, because that's what we're going to do. However, I am not going to choose the pattern. Nope, we're going to let a random number generator choose the pattern from this book, which is 52 Weeks of Socks, Volume 2. I only have Volume 2 because I found this book at a really high discount in a clothing yarn store, and I thought, well, if I have so much sock yarn, then maybe I'm going to knit so much socks. Well then, let's generate a random number between 1 and 52. Google says 23. Number 23 in the 52 Weeks of Socks Volume 2 is Hawick or Haywick by Sophia Sackett. Oh, multiple colors. That's going to be interesting, especially with this selection of yarns. I am most certainly going to use this purple sock yarn just to have a little bit of uniformity. I think I want to combine the two malabrigo skeins and then keep the alpaca socks for another project. I have finished knitting the little wedge that will eventually cover my toes. So it is now time for the moment of truth. Firstly, will these three yarns combined look good, or will it resemble something akin to vomit? I am committed to this pattern, like the Google random number generator told me that we were making this pattern, so I am committed. However, if it looks like absolute garbage, I might dial down my commitment to this pattern. I've done a couple of rows and this is the result. Can you see it? It's not terrible, it's not that I hate it, but is it the best pattern for these yarns? Probably not. I am going to sleep right now. I'm going to let this stew in my brain for the coming night, but I have a feeling I might have another go at the random number generator tomorrow and hopefully get a pattern that either uses two colors or is just less textural, because now we have like very rapid color changes but also a very textural stitch, and I feel like it doesn't translate. It's not visible what this sock wants to do. I think this pattern would be really gorgeous in unicolor yarns, but the variegated ones, I'm not feeling it. And that is not because I am against very wild and out there socks, because I do have a lot of very wild and out there socks. So my sock. I had a good night's rest, a good night's thinking about it, and I don't want to make this pattern with these yarns. I'm going to ask Google for another number, and then hopefully that is a more simple pattern, a less structured pattern, something that makes a lot more sense with either one or two of these yarns. A two-color maximum, otherwise I'm going to rule out the pattern that Google gives me next as well. You know, I could probably swap out one of these skeins with another sock weight yarn that I have, which is not an entire skein, but like leftover. But I don't know if I like this sock pattern enough to do that effort, you know? And no, this is not cheating, because it is my game. I invented the rules. This is my video and my channel. You just have to get along with whatever I decide. Like the fact that the camera is very crooked right now. Also, you just have to live with that. No, I'll fix it in a minute, but yeah. I'm going to ask Google for another random number between 1 and 52. My second random number is 36. Let's see what it has in store for us. Okay, that's two colors. It's slightly textured, but I mean, I'm not going to use that as another criteria to not make these socks. But isn't that just the exact same pattern that I did for my husband's socks in my previous video? No, I cannot use the same needles as I was working with. So now that I've knit all glorious 20 rows of this cuff, man, I love socks with long cuffs. I need to decide which of these two will become the contrast color. And instinctively, I'm thinking this, because purple, yellow, orange, golden tones, yes, that's very much what I'm going for all of the time right now, as proved by my vest. However, I started this as a way to get off of the paths that I would normally take, to take a route that I normally would not. I would not have picked this pattern, nor the pattern that Google suggested me first. If I got to choose, this one. Oh my god, this one. Sorry, I was talking with my knitting needle in my mouth, but yeah, the folky flowers, that would have been my pick. But I think it is also healthy and good for your creativity to sometimes leave whatever you would pick behind and go with something new, and maybe you will discover that other things that you like. And I just really wanted to go a path that I would not have picked, to freshen up my creativity and maybe also freshen up my wardrobe. So I'm not going to go for the yarn that I like the most. Nope, it's going to be this one. What do we think? Is this a good combination? So actually the socks that I'm knitting right now are called Rhythm by Marie-Christine Lévesque. And that is actually funny and a little bit coincidental that these are rhythm socks, while tonight is the first semi-final of Eurovision. Those kind of coincidences like really tickle my brain. I love it. It's like a pun by the universe. Eurovision starts in 5 minutes, so maybe I'll give you my quick little guess for the evening. Belgium is going to go to the finals. Not sure if they are going to end up pretty high when eventually it is the finals on Saturday, but they are going to get past the semi-finals this year. The song, not my genre, but I think the singer has a great voice. However, my main criticism of the song that Red Sebastian is bringing for Belgium this year is that the crescendo doesn't end in the climax, and I have a personal feud with songs that do that to me. No, you crescendo, now I want the song to explode, not to go down again. It's just a personal preference of mine, and I might be influenced by the fact that I'm very much used to listening to very bombastic and symphonic metal songs. I mean, yeah, Lordi has been my favorite Eurovision winner. My prognosis about this first semi-final of the ESC was wrong. Belgium did not qualify. Well, yes, that's what you get when you make a song where the crescendo doesn't end in a climax, Red Sebastian. No, I don't know. I'm not not very knowledgeable about music or anything, but I do know that I have got this much of a sock already. It's looking very textural. I think that will disappear when I wear it. The colors are looking weird. I also don't really know what to say. It's 11:30 in the evening. Normally I go to sleep at like 10. I'm becoming a little bit delirious with tiredness. I'm gonna go to bed and we'll work on this later. Now for those of you who want to say, I've had it with these monkey fighting socks on this Monday to Friday plane, I get you. I'm getting a little bit of travel shame myself. Like, it's the second time I take a plane in a year. What am I doing? I don't know, knitting socks. That's what I'm doing. Anyway, I went on a little trip with my mom and my sister to Spain, and of course I took the socks with me. What else would I do?
I used to be an adventurer, just like you. But then I took a knee to the arrow. This knee. Yes, my friends, I did that unspeakably stupid thing of breaking my needles by sitting on them. I had lain myself underneath a blanket with my knitting, went to fetch some drink, forgot that my knitting was underneath the blanket, crawled into the sofa like the four-legged monkey that I am, and snapped 2 of my Knit Pro sock needles. This one only had a little bit snapped off, so I thought I was kind of smart, and I wielded a Stanley knife and a nail file until they were double pointed once more, and now they're just like short. And it works, I can knit with them again. However, this all happened at my mom's place, and my mom is just the best person ever. So while I was at art school, she just went to our local yarn store very sneakily and got me new knitting needles. This is, by the way, the very first time that it is so evident that I have a different gauge when knitting in the round and knitting flat. I have never noticed before on any other of my heel flaps, but wow, this yarn really wants to put my mistakes, or, well, not really mistakes, but my inconsistency in tension in the spotlight. For this second sock, I briefly considered switching the colors around because I really love the color changing of the malabrigo, and frankly, I still haven't figured out how the repeats work. Like, it has to be a repeating yarn, right? And I haven't figured out how it goes because it's always like spaced out with the purple. And I thought, if I have more of that color, like in the cuff and in the heel, maybe I can figure out what the repeat is on this dye job of this yarn. But then I thought, no, I am going to make like identical socks this time. I'm going to be a little less chaotic than otherwise in my appearance, so that I will have enough yarn just to make vanilla socks with the malabrigo and really figure out how this color sequence works. I'm halfway the second sock, and this is what I have left. Like, I can get another pair, a full pair of socks out of this without batting an eye. Like, I think I could even make a pair for Dries. But for now, let's focus on this pair. I said focus, thank you, camera. Yesterday I had a real lazy day with my husband, and I just spent the entire day in the sofa knitting at my sock. And we have come to the final colored stripe, and now all I need to do is finish the toe. However, I think I might have to get my second ball of this purple onion nettle yarn. Sadly, I was hoping to have it finished with only one. But, however, I had a lazy day with my husband. I didn't want to turn on the camera to tell you this yesterday. So after that last colored stripe, I went ahead and did something else. Because if I wanted to continue on the sock, I first wanted to tell you that, and I was lazy. So I started a sock with only the colored yarn, to figure out what the color repeat is on this yarn, and I still haven't figured out. It's probably something, purple, green, but how it exactly works, I don't know. Maybe this yarn is actually just random. Is that something that exists, actually, random yarn? But I didn't go, as I said, for a vanilla sock. I went with another one from my book, this time Heart Drop by Jenny Ansa. And I don't like writing in books, but I have found mistakes. Second pattern I make from this book, and there's mistakes.
Anyway, that's looking pretty cool, I'd say. Really love this yarn. Now you might be thinking, Jente, you have been making so many socks this year. What are you going to do with all those socks? Well, wear them, of course. I have recently taken on the mission to replace all my store-bought socks with knitted socks. I have emptied out my sock drawer and, well, I didn't take out all of them. I kept the ones that had a sentimental connection. Yes, of course, I have sentimental feelings over socks. Don't you? Anyway, no, my mission is to have handmade knitted socks for every day of the year, practically, or at least I have enough socks that I can wear handmade socks every day that I need socks. That's the plan. So you will see me knit more socks over the course of this year as well. It's Monday evening, 7 o'clock. I just had dinner and I've got nothing else to do. Let's finish these socks. You're allowed to call me a little bit sentimental when I say that I think knitting socks for yourself is actually a form of self-care. I just really love the feeling of having wool socks on my feet, and knowing that I made them myself, for myself, makes me really thankful for me doing the thing. And I also just really like knitting socks. It's just such a quick project that gives you the dopamine, because you finish 2 of them. No second sock syndrome for me though. Now, is letting a random number generator decide which socks you will knit also self-care? Perhaps. I don't think I would have knit these socks if I didn't do this experiment. And I do like them a lot. I feel like they give such impressionist vibes, and if you know me, you know that I think impressionism next to Jugendstil is just the best kind of art. So yeah, letting that random number generator decide what socks I made, it was like a little surprise to myself, like not something I would instinctively go for, but now that I have them, I'm insanely pleased. I was a little bit doubtful during the knitting that I was going to like it, because it's a little bit out there, isn't it? Like the green and the purple together, but then nature just reminded me that purple and green is such a lovely combination. Well, when I said that you will be getting a lot more sock knitting in the future of this channel, then yes, that was the thread. As I said, I still haven't figured out the color sequence of my colorful malabrigo yarn, but this one has a lot more red tones and this one has a lot more green. I don't know if you can see it, if the camera picks that up, so maybe the sequence is an entire sock long. I actually don't know what else to say about these socks other than just that I like them. Do you like them? What do you have to say about my socks? And then, well, anyway, if you like these kind of eyebrow shenanigans, then maybe you could like, comment or subscribe, but of course that is all up to you. And as for me, I will see you in the next video, but before we do that, maybe you could look at some more knitting shenanigans. Bye!